recording the Zoom meeting as well as the digital voice recording of the minute, just so everybody of the meeting, just so everyone knows. This is the regular Board of Finance meeting, January 10th, 2023 in the Selectmen's Conference Room. Present at this point in time, we have Katie Erickson, Lars Commander, John Ford, and myself as members of the Board of Finance. We have our assessor, Betsy Quist. Thank you for coming back. We have our Callery, our clerk. We have our first selectman, Paul Co-Francesco, and we have our finance director, Leslie Pacigalupi. Okay. The first item on the agenda is to review and hopefully approve the minutes of the December meeting. Did anyone see anything out of line? Then can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Or a second? Second. Okay, discussion? I have no discussion.
I wasn't at it.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You can abstain.
Lars is abstaining. Okay. Next item on the agenda is discussion and possible action on the abatement application for Bill and Wendy Grieger for 153 Amity Road. And last month, Betsy brought us the information, and then we also we had some questions.
I did reach out to the Griegers for confirmation on who their renters currently are. And they came back with C&J Pump and Well with a minimum of 2 employees. A Rob Stirk, S-T-I-R-K, with 3 employees. And Riley Tree with a minimum of 2 employees. That's
Okay.
who they currently have renting.
Okay. And the other thing that we had asked for was the history on the Grieger storage facilities. What have we done in the past? For what percentage and for how many
There are
years?
copies in the center of Betsy
Oh,
did a
yes.
history of the entire, since the inception of the program. So it's one.
Betsy
page.
overachieves.
Well, when I was going back, it just
Wow.
started looking like they started to create like a little bit of a pattern, it seemed like around 2018. But prior to that, it sort of was like a weird. It's like they came up with a number, like, let's
Oh.
give them this number, and
Where
because
did
if you look at the percentages,
43 come from?
what's that?
The 43% for.
Again, as I'm saying, there really wasn't a lot of
Mhm.
the amounts seem to be close to the same, like that
Mhm.
CFC, it looks like, I don't know, if somebody misprinted it in 2018 when they typed it in. But it looks like the amounts seem to stay a little stable, but I just don't know where they came up with if you go by percentage, like, how now you look and say, should we do 30%, 20%, 10%?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they just did a flat amount at one point and carried it for 3 years.
Except that the next year it was
Which one are you looking at?
24, 667. First it was 43%, then 24, and then
So-
24. So that can't be right.
So it could be right based on them starting the project.
Mid-year.
And then it was granted, and then the next year the project was completed, and so that's why maybe they gave a flat amount, so that it wouldn't have to be recalculating every year at 10% of, because it might have been, the project was ongoing. I can't find any of the old applications. But I was able to go back into the computer and find them in the tax rolls, so I was able to do that, and that's where this information came from.
Okay.
But that's my only sense of the logic, was to try to just give a flat amount. And if they were mid-project, the percentages would change. But
The record should show that John has arrived. Okay.
So may I ask, are you comfortable with that? I just thought the CXC soccer was not offered a tax abatement, so I was surprised by that. So I don't know why I thought that. Right? Didn't you do that?
well, I wasn't here at the time.
We don't offer them, they have to apply for them.
Of course, it's a wrong choice. Thank you for the clarification.
I mean, you know, but they have to ask.
Utilize the program.
Well, if they weren't offered it and they didn't apply for it, somebody was generous enough
give
to
it to them.
to give
give
it
it
to them.
No, I'm sure.
I'm
that
sure they
their
applied.
engineer.
Yeah.
Told them to apply.
Yeah.
And that's just about the same time that the Grieger properties started coming through.
Yeah, if you see where it says warehouse, most of those are, most of them are Grieger properties.
Mhm.
There is one that is not, but most of them are.
And so these companies, Paula, are working out, like Sturk or Pump and Well, they're working out of this storage facility, C&J
As
Pump?
far as I know, I think they're housing their vehicles and things like that, so they're basically working out of there to.
I spoke with the chair of the zoning commission. She said there are no business permits to run any business out of these locations.
I think it's
So-
more for storage.
It's just
Yeah.
they're
You know, a
supposed
lot
to
of
be
these
dry
the
storage.
equipment that they rent to are heavy equipment businesses, so. Just if you're a guy who has 2 trucks, you're not gonna be able to take it home and park it in your driveway. So you need to find a place to store it. And I think that's why they've had such great success, because they've been able to, they've had quite a few of them around town. To help people house these large pieces of equipment, so.
Mhm. We're lucky enough to have a lot of different contractors working
That's good, yeah.
out of town, in town. Okay, so we were looking to try to do something that was approximately the same for. Oh, wait a minute, on 9 Russell Road, is that green light?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
but they've only taken advantage of 1 year so far, so I don't have any, 30%.
mhm.
That was what was offered to
Okay.
them.
So what we've been offering for the Grieger properties was 20% for 3 years.
And last week I did pass out a scale of 10 to 20 to 30.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just how the difference is.
So does anyone want to make a recommendation?
Yeah, I'll recommend we continue with the 20% that we,
For 3 years?
for 3 years that we've done in the past.
Okay. Is that a motion?
I move to, yes, it is.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's a recommendation to go to the Board of Selectmen, who will then
Yeah.
gain mail as a
Mhm.
modification.
Yes. Okay. Right. Next, Leslie, just a quick update on the grants.
Sure, quick
Quick.
update. Training was rescheduled to Friday, so we are hoping to go through the procedures that Squad currently uses. ARPA requests, there are several items out there that have come in since we put a request out to everyone saying, give us your ideas. The registrars are looking for funds to replace and enhance their voting booths for elections. There was a proposal for the recycling center to put in a weigh scale, so that we would know exactly how much the bulky waste weighed when it was dropped off. I guess to perhaps charge the residents going forward. I'm not sure. The proposal was pretty vague in.
Who
what was
submitted the
it?
proposal?
Yeah. it's
I'm-
their
It
question.
came from
Sustainability.
sustainability.
How would they do that? Make everybody put all their stuff on the scale before they put it in the?
Yep. Yeah, and
No,
like,
No,
it,
Usually you weigh your car before.
they weigh the
Yeah.
truck, they weigh the truck, and put the stuff in it, they dump the stuff and weigh the truck on the way out. They don't dump it all on the scale.
yeah, so it just, but I do believe it would be cost prohibitive, and it also doesn't make sense. There's different ways around that. If the goal is to get the residents to pay for that service, so that the town does not have to pay for the cost of disposing of the bulky waste. You just do a fee ordinance, and that takes care, that would take care of the same thing. That would cover it.
Well, you could probably contact Woodbridge. They recently, within the last 3 or 4 years, installed a scale. You could probably contact them and find out, has it been profitable? Or,
I break even,
yeah,
that would be expensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Harvest Festival is, Sharon and I have a meeting with them tomorrow. They're looking for tents, well, like industrial welcome tents, so that may not blow over on a dusty, windy day. Just, to enhance that. And I am hereby requesting ARPA funding for the purpose of new accounting software. Approximately $75,000 to convert our present system to Munis. My reasonings are quite simple. It's a better software system.
no, I'm just, she was talking about
You
the
just
budget
interested.
schedule, and I,
Yes.
I didn't want to interrupt her. I needed to ask her whether I needed to be there for the workshop
Okay.
on Friday.
All right.
Can I ask you quickly, do I need to be there for the workshop on Friday?
If you would like to present and defend your budget to the
That's
Board
on
of
the Friday.
Finance,
Not this
it's
Friday.
not this
Oh,
Friday,
okay.
it's next
Oh, okay.
Friday.
That's when
Yes.
I'm on the schedule.
On the
Yes.
20th.
Oh, okay, all right. Scared me for a moment.
All right, thank you.
But I got
So
to,
you're good for the 20th. then?
yeah, that's why I
Okay.
was stuck around, because I was like.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
Betsy.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Betsy.
I'm sorry, I interrupted.
That's quite all right. The auditor has been noticing a lot of deficiencies with what we have at the current time. We cannot pull the appropriate financial reports that he needs. We do not, we cannot separate accounts payable from purchasing in this system. It's all lumped together. Most municipalities use Munis, so at some point, when we need to replace staff, if we're looking to poach from another town, they may know how to use it.
They probably will.
They will know how to use the software when they come in. They would not have that disadvantage of having to learn a new software. Right now, our office our biggest slowdown and our biggest time prohibitive portion of getting our work done faster and more efficiently is the software system. It's a problem for us. It takes too long to do some simple things. So I am asking for consideration to changing the software system from what we're currently using to Munis, to have the Board of Selectmen put it on the agenda for the next town meeting for town approval for ARPA funding. The conversion is ARPA eligible. It does come with a heavier price tag budgetarily on an annual basis than what we are paying right now.
What's the difference?
What's the difference? Right now, we're paying about $10,000. This would be about 33.
But it's an integrated system, so that they don't have to make manual entries from the payroll and manual entries from transfers and.
It's one of the requirements is when we approve a budget transfer. We have to show the budget with the original dollar amount, then the modified budget. This system that we have right now doesn't allow for that tracking. When I changed a budget line to last month, we agreed to move $28,000 from one line to another. So now the budget, the way the system's going to print it out, the budget for that one line is $28,000 smaller than it was. There will be no history on the reporting. It's gone. So I have to manually make note of that so that we can go back and we can fix that when we do the audit and we do the reporting. It's those time-consuming efforts that we're trying to avoid to make us more efficient. Right now, we still cannot reconcile the AP for year end because for some reason, not everything from AP, from purchasing rolled through AP when we backed it out, so the numbers don't match. And I have to go through every invoice that was paid from July 1 to September 30 to figure out why they don't equal 0. Why we cannot get to 0 on an even out, in and out for the 22 bills that were paid in 23. It's literally cross them off one by one. A new system would give us the benefit of just running the report. There's the report. That's actual, that's factual, because this system that we're using now just doesn't do what it should. Steep grant, we're still waiting for contract. The Cabrera money.
I'm sorry, can I have you go back up about the previous three? I fully understand before. I don't understand who is requesting these. And are they requesting it from our town ARPA allotment?
Yes,
So another group within Bethany is requesting a scale, for example, like, I'm not
That
understanding.
was sustainable.
that was sustainable for the recycling center.
What's sustainable? What is that?
The recycling, old recycling committee.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, is making a request, the
Yes.
committee. Okay,
Mhm. Yeah,
okay. And these are all different groups that are making,
yeah, the registrar of voters are asking for approximately $3,000 for voting booths.
I think those are specifically ADA booths that they're looking
Yes.
for.
Yes, some of them are ADA booths.
and the recycling is how much?
I don't know,
We
a
don't know.
scale.
Okay. And the tents at the Harvest Festival? We don't know.
We don't know.
Okay.
We'll have more information tomorrow.
Yeah, those are unlikely to be capital. And so we need to find out what the current ARPA process is. Because everything we've done since they switched over and said, all your ARPA capital and low SIP capital stuff has to go to a town meeting. They've all been capital.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the thing is like, it's literally 55 pages. And I couldn't find how you go about dealing with things that are ARPA eligible but are not capital. Like, we shouldn't have to go to the town meeting, but there should be a process that they've called out, so.
Then.
You're on
You're
mute.
mute.
You're on mute.
Yes,
We talked about this on Friday and you did not see a need, did you? Since it was under the 20,000 threshold that requires a town meeting, did you find anything else through the ARPA guidelines to change that?
I did not see anything that would differentiate from the statute.
Which statute?
7-348.
Okay, but that's not the ARPA governing.
Correct. The ARPA governing, so the ARPA governing statute, the ARPA governing guidelines, which puts the the guidelines that puts the allowances into 4 tranches of what you can spend the monies on doesn't tell you how to spend them, how to approve the monies. The monies get approved in accordance with your local process. So for example, if you're so it would get approved based upon your local form of government. So for example, in the town of Orange, the Board of Finance or the Board of Selectmen would approve it. They don't go to town meeting because that's not their form of government. In your town, it depends on the amount of the expenditure, right? So as in the ordinary course of business, if it's below the $20,000 threshold, you would have the authority at the Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen level. If it's above the $20,000 threshold, you'd have to go to your town meeting.
Okay, all right, so the OPM guideline that came out at the end of March last year said everything well. Said all the capital projects henceforth, even LoCIP and ARPA had to go to that governing body. But it didn't say that there were any different accountability or approval issues or processes. So you're saying our regular process should work?
For the ARPA monies, yes, your regular processes should work. When we were looking at the LoCIP,
Capital,
the LoCIP has to be your legislative body.
no.
Your legislative body, again, is a question of what is your legislative body? It's your town meeting for most purposes, right? And your Board of Selectmen for some purposes. And it depends, we were kind of somewhat going in Paul's office because what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because in order to get a project ready for this LoCIP process, we were talking about ARPA now, we're not talking about LoCIP, but sometimes you have to take action in order to get a project ready, in order to qualify for LoCIP, and you can't get to the town meeting first. So it's the whole process. OPM hasn't really set it right for this form of government. Because there's too many, in the state of Connecticut, there are too many different forms of government, and the OPM hasn't taken that into consideration for this process. But for ARPA specific, which comes from the federal government, there's no specific guideline that says how you have to approve it. So I would say it defaults to your local approval process. And your local approval process in Bethany is, 7-348.
Okay, thank you. That'll make it much easier, but we can't do anything with them until we know, right, until they have dollars associated with them, except is the registrar's one ready to go?
Yes, the registrar's one would be ready to go as soon as I have their entire budget presentation. The registrars have not yet submitted their budget to me. They have only submitted their request for ARPA funding.
But does it have to go through the budget, or can't we
No,
just?
it can
we
go
forward it?
I spoke with them on Friday, and some of the items that they have on their ARPA list, they also have in their budget request for next year. So they wanted to separate, and they wanted to, put the appropriate items in each category, and then they would be submitting them to me. And I do not expect to have that from them formally until the end of this week.
Then we're not
Catherine's
gonna do
father
it.
passed away, just so you know.
Yes,
Oh,
Catherine's father,
Okay.
so I
mhm,
don't think she's even in the state right now.
she's not. So that's, I.
well,
gave
it would, then it's just, we're gonna table these until next month then, even the small ones. Right, because the other one's the tents we have to.
Right,
talk
correct,
to
that's
them
tomorrow.
on.
Mhm.
See how that's gonna go. Okay.
One more question.
Mhm.
When's the town meeting? Do we have a town meeting lined up or
We haven't said it yet.
we don't have a plan for one? No.
At this moment, no, we have to really kind of list everything we need to bring forward.
Mhm.
Because we don't want to do it and then all of a sudden realize we missed one and then have to,
No, I totally
you know, we
understand.
want
Yeah, I
to
wasn't
be
sure if you had
efficient
it.
when we do put it forward because they are expensive to run, so. We want to make sure we have all the ducks in a row.
All right, Steve, we covered the Cabrera grant. Um. We are working through the procedures. We have gone through step 1 and step 2. We are submitting pricing proposals to them now, so it is a work in progress, but we are now making progress. It is no longer stalled.
What was that one for?
The Cabrera funds,
No, but what was the?
the 350 times 2. What are the projects?
What improvements are you proposed?
Okay, the one is for windows
Right.
and the second is for the gym.
It isn't for the full remodel of the gym, the rest of it. Now the Delora one, well, update everyone on.
Yeah,
That's kind of
the
like-
Depends on
Delora
the time
one.
of day.
Exactly. The omnibus spending bill was announced. It did pass. It has been announced. And in the announcement email that we received from Rosa DeLauro's office on that stated Bethany Town Hall renovation project.
$1 million.
Great.
So we don't know if that money is for Center Station or for Town Hall.
Because originally they told us for public safety for the center station, and then when the announcement came out, it said town hall renovation, so we're not quite sure where the change came in. who
So we're not sure
changed it.
which building we can use the money on.
They were going crazy trying to figure out how do you spend $1 million on Center Station, which practically would fit in here, right?
Yeah.
It might take half of it, but it wouldn't take it all.
Yeah, well,
So
I think it would be better use spent on here, yeah.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah.
So we are hoping that the second release is accurate.
Why was it removed from the first one?
Well, our
The Cabrera
original,
one, yeah.
well, no, the Cabrera grant was originally done as two $350,000 lots.
Mhm.
Then at the same time, simultaneously, Rosa DeLauro's office contacted us about funds. And we're like, well, now wait a minute, 350 is not going to do the gym.
Hmm.
It's not going to do everything we want in the gym. So we put together a proposal to finish the gym and to make some improvements at Center Station. And we said with the two buildings, the two projects combined, would probably run about $1 million. And that's how we put it into them. And then they started to get created in their office on which location the money was for.
Because they told us it could
Only
now only
one
one
physical
address.
address.
because they're two separate addresses. But Park and Rec Annex is considered part of this address, so it's encompassed in the window project.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're on.
For
we're
$1
on-
million,
Hurry up and,
right?
yeah.
It's like,
Hurry up and wait.
who's on first?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's, I mean, the residents made it really clear they want that gym done. And so
Yes.
Oh,
I'm sure they would prioritize that over.
correct. Yeah. We're just waiting for additional clarification on it, which we do not have yet.
And meanwhile, all the public safety people are really excited
Thinking that they're getting.
about Central Station. It would just be really nice if they could go back to being promoted. Okay, where are we?
Your report.
Your report.
Oh, me. Okay, so the only real thing I ever report on is what's going on in Amity. And Amity. So last night, the superintendent's budget was presented to the board. The overall increase in expenditures is 2.9 something percent. I could dig it out, but it's, however, for Bethany, because Orange has had a significant drop in enrollment, and we only lost one, and Woodbridge lost a couple. It will be a 5.62% increase and $501,000. That's taking into account applying whatever might be left of the unused surpluses from prior years. They're not going to give them back. They're going to apply them for next year as a reduction in what they're asking us for. So just as an interesting note, the Amity system, the Amity system is twice as large as Bethany, including the 9.914, that number I gave you, I don't know. It's over $9 million. It's $9.5 million they're going to ask us for. And that's, when you include that in our budget, it's still only half of Amity. You could run 2 towns. I mean, it's huge. It's amazing. Anyway, last year I was telling people we're going to get hit. We're getting hit. So at least the overall increase is less because of banking the surplus. But they have one weird thing that I'm trying to make some sense out of, because Jen Byers said that they're going to start planning now for replacing the fields, or at least the first one that's going to need to be replaced, so that it won't be, oh, look, we're going to have a bond issue because surprise, surprise, now we have to replace the field. So they're going to start putting money in their budget to, like a sinking fund or a reserve. Okay, so that would mean that the expenditure part of the budget is going to go up. I didn't get a chance today to look and see how much it was, is going to go up by that dollar amount. So that's built into the expenditure budget, which means also that 2% of those funds, which are not going to be expended yet, will go into the surplus. And because it creates a bigger bottom line, it goes around and around, and every year it's like a snowball going downhill. But the other thing is, I said, well, then are you planning to reduce the 2% that you want to take and put in capital reserve? Or are you planning on still doing that too? And she said, oh yes, we're still planning on doing the 2% if we have that surplus. So I have to go see how much money is involved there. But anyway, that's where it is. Right now, what they're asking for, it was the first public run through, is an increase of $501,000 for us.
Surprise me.
Well, overall, it's nowhere near as bad, but that's because they're using the surplus to subsidize it.
They are, exactly. They're not putting it in this,
And-
our slush fund now. They're just
And
using
this-
it to,
and
And they keep
bottom
the
line
funds
is
and it
to-
increases budget.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and the
crazy.
percentage is in there, well, whatever, right? Okay, the next one is it's. Okay. It's the person.
As you can see, the whole project is pretty much done except for the carpeting. And the 2 panels they need to plug in, but we've got everything else up and running. So we're very excited about that. I did reach out for the budget workshop schedule for Friday the 20th and Friday the 27th. Still waiting on confirmation from some of the departments, so once I get those confirmed, I'll send out a schedule. So everybody has it ahead of time. We will post, the workshops. The, selectmen Don and Liz will be invited to attend as well. I checked with Ben, we do not need to, post that as a special Board of Selectmen meeting, because we are invitees to your budget workshops. There's no real decision making, going on, it's just presentations.
But it
So,
will be a special meeting for us.
it will be put as the budget workshop, like we did last year. I posted them as
Yes.
the budget workshop.
But it's a special meeting. I mean, it's noticed as a special meeting,
There's no decision making, it's just a workshop.
but it's noticed.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it out and post it.
But it's a public meeting. It's
Yes.
a public meeting of the Board of Finance. And because it's noticed as a public meeting of the Board of Finance, the
Post, I'm
selectmen
gonna post.
can attend without it being noticed as a selectmen's meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Paula, can you confirm it's the 20th and 27th?
20th and the 27th, both starting at 3:00, and dinner will be provided. And that's pretty much it. I mean, kind of everything that you're going through, it's kind of the same, so. Don't want to rehash
Okay,
it.
is that it for yours?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, just then for the next item is Leslie's, our finance director's report.
I just want to add one piece to Paula's comment in regards to the town hall project. It has come in under budget.
I was about to ask about that, but. Yeah.
It has come in under budget.
What are the details? What was the budget? And what?
Oh, the budget was $100,000.
Mhm.
And we still have it's part of the floor has not, part of the carpeting is not complete at the ramp end of the hallway. There are sufficient funds in that 100,000 to paint the entry hallway between the lower level, like the stairwell part.
Stairwell.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that can
Yeah.
be done
Yeah.
with the funds, as well as the stairwell in the back where you come up like to the tax office and go down to Park and Rec. Those two hallways can definitely still be painted within that $100,000. And it is possible. We're not positive, but it is possible that the downstairs hallway can get a fresh coat of paint as well within that budget.
So everything will be freshly painted.
Is it the project contingency that you didn't have to use? Is that what it was?
Did not have to use the project contingency. It will come in under that $100,000 that was approved. But since some of the items are not complete, I don't have a complete accounting for that project yet. But Kelly and I will be working on a full detailed accounting of all the ARPA funds that have been spent prior to budget workshops, so we have that information. The fiscal year 22 closed, the audit is ongoing. There was an extension filed to January 31st. And John put it in writing to Paula and I that he did not anticipate needing an additional extension beyond January 31st.
You heard it here first, people.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
His comment was, we are much further along this year than we were last year at this time. By several months.
I think he was surprised.
Thanks
I
to
think he
her.
was very surprised.
It is, it's just that, quarterly financials were attached. Does anyone have any questions on those?
No, but can you talk me through some highlight things that you noticed or things that are where they couldn't be and
I highlighted items that are, it's a small one that's attached to the agenda.
Okay.
I highlighted things that are over budget.
Some of these may not have come.
How do you have
out on these
highlights?
Copies.
Can you-
Oh,
They may
okay,
not have
all
come
right,
out
you
on
may
these
not,
copies.
let me see.
The scanned one was in color, but these copies were in.
All right, you will not be able to.
Okay,
Okay,
Page in the line.
So, the selectman office expense is over budget. Because the budget was $2,200 and last year we knowingly spent $5,300.
where?
I'm on page 2 of 7. Going down, the selectman meeting clerk is also over budget, and Laura, that is no fault of yours, that is because of an accounting error on our part. All of your minutes for the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen are charged under the selectmen line. It will be corrected for next year. And we will do our best to correct for the rest of this year. Registrar seasonal is over budget by a lot of money. And I'm not exactly sure why, except that I do believe they had significantly more people helping this year than they did last year. That's on page 3 of 7.
You know, I think they had to because the 2 elected registrars were on the ballot and couldn't participate.
That
So
would
they-
explain it.
Yeah.
They had to have
Extra.
more people to
Mhm.
make up the difference.
So the second line's the budget, I just want to make sure, seasonal was budgeted for.
3357,
7
and it's at
5351.
Mhm.
Okay. And percentage wise, like in general, what percent would we?
it's
Be
159% of budget.
Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't my question. Generally speaking, I think it would be helpful if I saw like what percent of spend we're at as a line. Do you know
Well,
what I'm- oh,
it's-
Do you know what I'm saying?
Isn't that on this one?
Oh.
Well,
okay.
no, that's,
Oh,
that's
it
something
isn't.
completely
I thought it
different.
was.
But it is, that percent of spend is 158% of spend. That's the last column.
Oh,
So it's
on the
well
other.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, it's the last column.
The last
That's your
one was the
percentage of spend.
Oh,
Man, I didn't.
all those zeros.
159, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That's helpful, yeah, okay, I'm with you now, thank you.
Okay, police office expense, which is page 4 of 7, is also way over.
Why?
But that has to do because of the car accident, but the money was reimbursed. It was of no fault of
No,
Dave's,
if you wanna log in.
so the other person's insurance covered it.
but that's in the revenue line.
That is in miscellaneous revenue.
We're on the-
So I want to-
Director's report.
That is a note that I have for John when the audit is complete, to ask him if there's anything I should do to adjust that line
Okay.
before the
If
end
you
of the
wanna put
fiscal
on,
year.
you know, you can do all of them.
I remember talking about that one. before,
Yep.
yeah.
That one's been. The next department that's over is the emergency management and fire marshal. It's a combined department this year. It's because there's now 2 individuals in that area, both of which have been spending money and not communicating with the other. So next year, they will each be receiving their own budget section. I will fix that for next year.
Is there a roll up of the budget of that section or no?
No, that's the other problem with this report. It does not roll them up. Because if you look at it in the beginning of each section,
I don't know what's the beginning of each section.
it would
By the
be a
number?
line that shows 0 straight across it, Katie.
Oh, okay, well, I mean, it's done, but I get it. All right,
That's the roll up. It shows zeros. But if you do a screenshot of that page in the system, it tells you where you are. But it doesn't transfer to the report.
I mean, but it's Excel, right? You,
Well, I export it to Excel,
yeah, so it's manipulable.
but it's still, but that line does not export. On page 5 of 7, garage expense vehicle service is also at 159% of budget.
Is this that big truck?
It is a big truck that is a lemon that we have spent tens of thousands of dollars repairing. which is on the capital list for replacement next year. They have asked to, Public Works has asked to move it up a year.
And part of this is because we're outsourcing.
Yes, we are outsourcing all mechanic work. We are not doing any in-house. We do not have a mechanic on staff. And we cannot fill that position.
Overall, how is Public Works doing?
Well, overall, the town is at 47% of budget. On expenses. That's where, overall, that's where we are.
And we're doing 9 months,
And we are, no, we are through,
7.
I was gonna say, it can't be 9 months.
Six.
Next month.
we are through. We're at about, well, I pulled a new report today, which and we are at. No, I didn't carry that forward. I think we're at like 53 when we add in everything that was cut this week, but this week included the second half appropriations for the fire department, the ambulance, the library. So that's going to skew us heavy for January, but it's because of fulfilling the budgetary requirements for all for the large ones for the year. Anything you want to? Anything else you want to talk about there? I know which ones are over budget and they're ones that I am not surprised by a lot. I mean, like the vehicle service, I'm not surprised by that with Public Works. The Bethany Bulletin will go way over for this year and I'm not surprised by that.
But that also has a revenue line, doesn't it?
There is, we do generate revenue for that, yes.
The, back to Parks and Rec.
Okay.
We're under budget for other contracted services. Just a reminder what that's for. That's for,
Park and Rec.
I didn't mean to say Parks and Rec, Public Works. I'm so sorry.
Other
Page 5 of 7.
Okay, well,
Near the top, like
Okay, that's
Five.
when we made a transfer last month.
last month, yes.
no, other
Oh,
contracted
no, it's
services.
engineering.
We're not over, but. We,
Under,
way under.
way under, yeah.
well,
I just
Public
remember,
Works is completely being revamped, the way in which we look at the expenditures in Public Works.
Mhm.
It's hard to explain. But I'll do my best. There's two. In general, we just use Tilcon to pave a road. But there's more than one component to paving a road. So if we need to have someone come in and widen a road and lay down stone before it's paved, that is considered part of paving the road, not an other contracted service. So some of the money that may have been charged to that line in the past is not being charged to that line now.
Mhm.
A cost of doing it, when you are doing a road construction project, if you need to go in and level yards of trees, widen the road, then pave the road, that is all part of paving the road. It's not a contracted service to bring in the tree guy to cut down the trees. It's not a contracted service to bring in the excavators. It's all the cost of the road. It's all
I'm
part of the
totally with
capital.
you, then
So this year, the numbers are going to look different than what you've seen in other years, because we have made that shift to account for the full cost of capital projects together. Because what ends up happening at the end of the year is I have to go through the general fund lines and figure out how much of that should have been capital and capitalize it. So we're transitioning this year to put the expenses where they actually belong.
So where's the paving line? In theory, we would overspent on paving, is what you explained.
No, because some of the monies that historically would have been used in other contracted services is in the capital account to do help me out, Sperry Road, or I don't,
The last roads we did.
yeah, the last
We did
three.
Carrington, Sperry,
That's
and,
right.
And, okay, that's where the
Okay.
expenses are, that would have fallen under contracted service under previous finance directors. They're in that capital project.
So you moved it out of OpEx. into
I moved it
capital.
out of operating and moved it in the capital where it
Which is. where it
should be.
belongs.
Okay.
So
that-
some
that
of
line
those,
item-
so some of those line items may come in way under budget this year in Public Works.
And I think they should. I just want to make sure then that they
Well,
remain under budget and people don't, in that group don't see that they have a
oh, no,
large pool of money from which they could easily transfer. Like, I mean, it's
no,
human nature. I'm not calling anyone like,
nope, I understand exactly what
Yeah.
you're saying. And you will see a shift in the budget proposal for next year with Public Works.
Mhm.
Because of properly accounting for projects.
yeah, I'm just focusing on this at
No,
this moment. Yeah.
understood.
Thank you for the explanation.
I had a question about electric in general. I see that town hall's almost at 80%, but also considering Eversource just doubled supply rate, have we shopped for a different supplier?
We have a meeting about electric on Thursday.
Okay,
And we had been in contact with all of the solar companies that we currently have with the systems, and we're trying to figure out how, if all of the billing and reporting is accurate, and if we are actually getting appropriate credits for the excess generation off the solar panels. So, yeah, we are looking into that whole piece.
okay.
No,
Yeah, because the suppliers that are out there, I switched all mine over and you save like 40% compared to Eversource's rate,
yes.
so it's significant.
Mhm. Not all of our electric is currently supplied by Eversource. We do have some with Constellation, some is with Eversource, and some of the stuff is through solar. So in anticipation of making sure we had the numbers in the right buckets for next year, a complete analysis of the energy costs was put into Excel for the last calendar year. And we're going to use that to go out to the various companies to see what we can do about reducing our rates overall with everything.
If you want to mention, since we're talking budget stuff,
Oh.
that we've locked in.
Oh, yes.
and We've done, okay.
So budget.
How about, did you get the general fund?
No, I did not. So that was the one piece I did not get to. We'll have that by the 20th. When we start.
Okay.
Departments have submitted their budgets with the exception of the registrar, as I had said. Right now, the preliminary, but we do have our gas, diesel, and fuel oil locked in for next year. The increases were not significant from this year's lock-in. We were floored by that when we went to the bid
That
opening.
was just shy of $1, I think.
I mean, it was not this massive increase that we were expecting. So the numbers that I put together in the preliminary budget, I do not know, I know for a fact that I have not proofed the energy numbers against the new proposal. But right now, the budget has a $2.1 million increase, which is about 8.3%.
How many?
How many
dollars?
percent?
2.1, about 2.1 million. About 8.3%.
Two and a half mils.
We did get the insurance.
The good, I mean, we do have a
Was what I
lock-in
said.
for the medical insurance, which is only a 3.5% increase. If we go out to market, we're looking at least an 8.7% increase, but we're choosing not to go out to market. So they are guaranteeing us a lock-in at 3.5,
They came at a meeting last week and told us
4.8, and they came back
not to exceed 4.8, but they told us they were gonna go and discuss, because we have a good record history right now with as far as few claims and that kind of thing. So they were gonna go out and sort of,
do better. That's what we
yeah,
told
that's
them.
what we told them, go, you gotta come down, and they locked in, what was it, yesterday's email, this morning, I forget when.
This after, like,
Today's-
about 5 o'clock this afternoon, 3.5 is the lock-in for us. And last year, the increase was 3%. So to only to have a 0.5% increase from last year is actually really good.
$1 million for capital.
Yep. The capital requests for next year are about $1 million.
Wow.
Wait, does she has a budget?
I have a couple copies. Oh,
I think Karen's doing a sneak peek.
Sharon,
No, Terrence is going.
Sharon is looking at it. So if you want to share with,
Oh,
um,
I thought everybody.
no, I did not make one of these for everyone. I know I gave Laura a copy to have put in. And if Paula knows how to share screen,
Do you have,
I have it
yeah,
that we can put it up.
where is
It
it?
doesn't have any departmental subtotals.
No, it does not have the departmental subtotals. I have departmental subtotals. I can go over that. I can give you those
Where
numbers.
am I gonna find your share?
I don't know. I have it on here.
Oh, you wanna stick it, okay, stick it in there. Okay. Can you get it? Select to choose what happened. We removed the bad.
Wicked.
Always like that.
Open a file.
There we go.
Oh,
Oh, you guys make a click on
let's see if the budget is in there.
it. Click on down the road, hold on. Click on down the road.
What's the spotlight thing? There it is.
Well, I keep going. It's going to
Oh,
be,
that's last year.
yeah, but this year's is on there too.
Oh, gosh. So what happens when you get a 56 gig?
I think I'm at
USB
the
drive.
bottom.
All right. Oh, gosh, it better be in there. Because I know I
Let me-
saved
hold
it on
a
there.
second, let's do this.
Let's do a date modified.
Where am I going?
Click on your date modified.
Where am I?
Down.
Down on the bottom, okay.
No. It's,
Oh, over here, okay, got it.
yeah, there we
Got
go.
it, sorry,
And then sort.
I'm looking at.
It's sorted. Just look for today because it should be on there. There it is. Open it.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Okay, there we go.
got it. Yeah, go there. Okay, yeah, gotcha, good, go on. Oh, for crying out loud.
Oh, you
Do
should
it.
have to accept it.
Okay. Skip sign.
Skip
for now.
sign.
Okay. Accept license agreement. Next.
It did, Microsoft did something the first of the year. I'm, all of my
I click on the don't send.
Yeah,
Office
okay.
on all
Close,
my,
there we go.
There we go.
all my
Okay.
devices all want me to
Where do you want me to go?
theoretically
down?
sign up.
Go all the way up to the top. No, go, come down to the expenses. You're in the expenses, Paula, you're down too far.
Okay.
Go up.
Done. Look at me now. Seriously? This thing does not like me. Okay. There we go.
Touch screens are sometimes very helpful.
Let me know when you want me to stop.
Keep going, there we go. All right, you should be able to go
Left or right?
You gotta bring over one more column to the right, so we can lose the account number ID. That doesn't matter. There we go. Now we can see the titles and we can see the percentage changes.
Yeah, it's good. Because what you just sent us does not have percentage change.
Then that'll be at the bottom when we get to the bottom. So, I mean, pretty much it's like a 2.5%.
Start scrolling or no?
It's pretty much like a 2.5% raise for the staff. I have budgeted assuming a Munis software. When you get into, because that's gonna show like a huge increase, like a doubling in the software and the finance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's assuming. You know, Munis. The assessor assistant salaries and assessors and stuff, that has gone up significantly because of new staffing. And 12 months a year versus 10 months a year, because Peggy was only 10 months a year, not 12 months a year. So that was a change there. If there's something that jumps out that you want to talk about, I'm happy to. Let me see here.
That's the clerk assistant, that's the assistant salary.
Where, you want me to go back up or?
No, you
tax
said it's on
collector?
there. It
Oh,
doesn't-
okay, and in the town clerk, you're looking at that?
Yeah.
Okay,
What I'm basically doing is I'm looking at high percentages with a high dollar amount.
Okay,
Because if it's a high percentage amount, but it's only like $500, I'm not like gonna focus on it.
correct, but the 27,000 at 14% you're looking at.
And the one above it too, you know.
Okay, all right, that is equalization on salary. The new hires have been brought in significantly higher per hour than the existing staff.
Mhm.
So we're looking to, the department heads are asking for equalization. And that's the impact it has.
Not just in the town clerk's office.
That's just in the town clerk's office. But that is the office that is most impacted by the need to adjust.
Mhm. There's another salary one, the
Yeah.
157%, that one there, Paula, yep, you have.
Okay. Lena is looking to take her part-time person full-time. And she is also looking to add a part-time person. Yeah, so that is reflected in there.
That's a lot.
So
Yeah.
you added a person, Lena's basically requesting to add a FTE, right? Going part-time to
Yes,
full-time
yes.
and adding a part-time.
Mhm.
So
I just-
it's a
that
big
is-
increase in staff for,
Well, finance already has.
Yeah, I already have.
I know, I'm just
Mine was put in the budget last year.
I'm
It's
generally
that-
looking at
No,
the
I-
amount of staff within.
I understand where she's going. Yeah. The planner is jumping because Hiram's fee is going up. That's why there's a 20% increase there. I think that's the GIS support. That's 157%.
Oh.
And that's assuming that I plug. That has to do with the POCD being almost finished and the need for a lot of new maps.
Actually, according to the POCD is good till 2028.
I don't know, but there's something
We'll
that's
look
being,
it up because.
there's something that's being worked on and being completed.
Okay, because he looked it up for that cemetery
Mhm.
branch and we don't need the waiver because.
The red numbers are the numbers that I do not have yet, so I plugged last year's numbers in, just so that we could get a feel for what the bottom line was. It was easier than trying to do the math for increases in some cases. Oh, there, okay, go back
Yeah.
up a little bit, Paula.
To which one?
Because in that section there, it's operation of town hall. There is a new line item in there. It does, you're good.
Okay.
It's near the bottom. It does not, it says that it's not divisible, doesn't work because it's a new line. There was a zero budget in there last year. That is for a professional services line, $50,000 for engineering services for grant proposals that we have.
It could use a better title. like that.
Okay, so would you then be reducing the engineering in Public Works that we just increased?
Oh, well, we would take it back to where it was at 15,000.
Okay.
Yes, we would take it back to where it historically was.
50 grand sounds high for 1 year.
No, but it should be able to be part-time. Well, we don't know.
Yeah, we can have both over there, but
Yeah,
I understand.
correct.
I understand why it's there, yeah.
Mhm. And we don't know, so that's why that was the number that I was given to plug in that line. Okay, so we can,
Keep going.
yeah, we can keep going.
Oh, but you
Go back.
mentioned electric, that there wasn't a doubling of the electric there in the budget, I saw somewhere.
Yeah, town hall electric, it does say a 50% increase, correct?
Yeah, so it says, yeah.
Yep. So we plugged in what seemed like a ridiculous number, but it may not be.
Yeah,
Because right now we don't know, but we're working on all that. We will have it resolved by the time, we should have it resolved by the time we go to budget hearing. That we have a more realistic number in there.
yeah, it's good.
All right, keep going, Paula.
Oh, no.
We got an 11% increase. Go back. I'm not sure where that one is. I'm just.
Ambulance corps?
Yeah, that's the big one. They are asking for an increase of 10,000 from 85 to 95,000 to cover the daytime.
Isn't it 15? 80 and 95?
Maybe it was 80.
I think 85 to 95, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was only 80 last year.
Well, they may have thought it was only 80 and they told us it was going up 15 from 80 to 95.
No, the email
No, I
from.
think he's still up.
from Rick, that's what I was doing.
I have the hard copy here from him.
Have to remind them that they have to give us their expenditures.
I can't find it. And I know I had the fire.
For the workshop, can we break out the salary? I mean,
Yeah.
the position people, I want to know last year's budget versus this year. Because I'm just trying to, last year was very confusing. And then this year, I'm trying to see like, now emergency management is going up to, it's very confusing where
Well-
all these stand.
Okay, I am working on a completely new template for it. I'll pass these out in a minute. I'll just give you each a different department. So let's, yes, we will definitely address that. Yes, we're scrolling. The fire marshal, the increase there is because he's looking to increase the hours per week, not necessarily the pay per hour.
It's still bottom line budget.
It is still bottom line budget, but this is where we're going from one department to two departments. So I have to do a closer look at how much was spent last year versus next year's proposals, this year to next year's proposals, so that I can see what the true dollar increase is on the budget with splitting the two out into two departments.
I'm just curious, total payroll with people, the people piece.
Okay,
I think there's a significant increase just looking at this. I mean, I can barely see it, but yeah, it's mainly because of my eyes, not because I'm early. But I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned with just the amount of people, this and that, and then we're gonna make adjustments to up people in the clerk's office. I can't believe we're hiring people who we're talking about salaries amongst people. I mean, we should have had a confidentiality statement or something where they weren't talking about salaries. Most companies do that. Towns do it too. And yet here we are, everybody knows everybody's salary and everyone's all now up in arms.
Well, they're all like hourly.
Well, but it doesn't matter if they're hourly or salaried, it doesn't matter. You know, it's just like giving out the same amount of raise, whether they're doing a good job or a bad job.
Yes.
I think that's ridiculous.
We'll get
I was concerned as well about total salaries, total FTE count,
Mhm.
and I think we're not going in the right direction. I mean, we're trying to get tools to make us more efficient, and we're also getting more people, you know, it's just, you know, I don't know.
What are we gonna get for the bang for the buck? In finance department, I can understand, we run short there forever. But now you're putting in like, Lena's department, a full timer, then you're making, she wants another part timer. And are we doing that much more business or in that department that's gonna justify the people?
No, we did used to have that many people there.
Yeah, but as everything went down,
I'm just
we
saying
had
that.
to, you
it's not like-
normally decrease.
Mhm.
When things go up, you can increase, but you can't just increase without justification. That's where I'm a little concerned. I mean,
Which
everyone can
is-
tell me what they want, but that's not always gonna be. what happens.
Which is why we do the workshops, for them to defend what they're looking for.
And we also have to remember that we have someone who will be leaving Public Works and right now is not taking the insurance. But we have. to
We didn't even
plan-
get to the insurance
Well,
line yet.
right, but I'm
We're
just
getting there.
thinking ahead, like we're talking bodies and what they take. You know, Fran may not run again, which means someone new is going to be filling that position, which potentially could be taking full benefits, and it could be a family. We have to plan for someone coming in who's going to be a family. Otherwise, we're going back to the town for more money if we don't plan accordingly.
But from a benefit standpoint, that's understandable. But our concern is with the people and the amount of people and the salaries.
But the benefits aren't loaded into the salary line. is it?
No, they are
No,
not. We will get,
So, yeah,
we will
that's
get
not
to
gonna
them.
affect the lines
You're,
we're concerned.
you're gonna see that like with a 20% increase on that line, even though we have a 3.5% increase. Because I have to anticipate. Because I know there will be, I'm expecting at least 2 new full-time employees next year that could take family benefits.
What 2 new full-time employees are, Fran, I guess is one you're saying, right?
And Public Works, we
And
have someone
Public Works.
anticipating leaving.
Yes.
So,
But there's also somebody half-time to full-time and another half-time in land use.
Yeah.
So that's
So
another
increased benefits.
1.5 people, right?
Vin, did you have something you wanted to jump on? Can you?
Yeah, just with respect to the comment about people knowing each other's salaries, you got to remember you're a public agency and everything is subject to public disclosure. So you don't get the benefit of hiding people's salaries. You know, that's the distinction between the public sector and the private sector. So everyone's salary is known, and your employees are going to know what they're making, and what their fellow employees are making because of public disclosure. So there's no way of getting around that. Unfortunately, because you're a government.
We have to
And
be cognizant of when we make an offer then.
so
It's that much more than an existing employee.
right. So
We should be able to plan for this. This is
it
not,
just is what it
they
is.
should by surprise.
Right, it is just what it is. It's when you determine that, let's say, for example, you're gonna pay a new position X, a new tax collector, you know, because you've been getting away, I'm gonna use another town so that we get away from your town. You know, the town of Orange has been underpaying a tax collector for 40 years. And now they're gonna hire a new tax collector because, you know, which it's elected, but, you know, they're gonna now pay $20,000 more. You know, that's public information and there's no way of getting around that. And now if the town clerk says, well, wait a second, you know, you're paying the tax collector $70,000, I'm only making 55. I want to make $70,000 also. You know, there's no way of getting around that.
Yeah, you
So-
don't have to match that though. They could find another job.
You do not have to match that, unless you're
We don't have
dealing,
to match that though, right?
you do not have to match it unless you're dealing with union positions. unless you're dealing with unions, you don't have to match it. But, and again, you can't just raise salaries if you're dealing with union positions. You can't make changes to union salaries, unilaterally. That's something to be aware of also. But again, I just wanted to make sure, because I heard you raise the issue about, public disclosure of salaries. There's nothing you can do about that because you're a public agency.
Oh, just, I think it goes to show
And
you.
and the demand for especially
Thank you.
certified and professional level.
Yeah, but if you got one office and you raise somebody significantly, and knowing all that, wouldn't you think that's gonna be a problem?
From what I can tell, there are no secrets in this building.
Well, there it goes to show you.
So it may not matter.
Well, it does if we're not gonna match the other salaries, and if we don't approve it.
Yeah, except that, look at how long it took us first to find a finance director and then a receivable.
I understand that, but the finance director is like significantly more qualified than almost every position in this town.
Well, there are actually quite a few certified.
And they can be certified and they can get adjusted accordingly. But if you have somebody who's certified, they shouldn't be getting the same amount as somebody who's not certified.
Right.
Or the person who's not certified can't be comparing themselves because it's not apples to apples in any way, shape, or
I
form.
agree. I'm not disagreeing with you.
So
But
that's why I want to see that breakout. Because
I mean, I don't necessarily agree with you, John, like it is pretty normal common business practice to every year take a look at salaries and
you can look at them, but doesn't mean you're gonna raise everybody to get to a certain level.
it's a process, but there is extreme
I mean,
inequities of young.
When you're looking at the numbers that we have,
But you also have to remember something, the difficulty that we had finding Rowena and finding Leslie. Our pay is not, compared to some other towns, we are not competitive at all. We are lucky to have the people that we have at the hourly rates that we have. We're very lucky. We're fortunate because we also pay very well with the benefit, so it sort of balances out. But if we didn't have Don to step up and do the facilities and the public works, that would still be vacant. Because all the surrounding towns, they make six figures.
they've got a lot more income coming in too.
But
You've got to look
they
at the
look at
town.
Bethany and they.
You gotta
and
look
they-
at the town and what you got to work with.
Well, they didn't want to look at Bethany.
When you look at, well, when we look at the mill rate, and we were all saying, all right, that's fine, what's another 2 point
No.
whatever million.
Well,
Well,
this is the first.
this is the
Well,
first.
I know, but I'm just saying, that's why we're gonna have to look at these things. But
I don't disagree, and
I think it's a really good idea to combine, like, look at all of the wages and salaries together at the same time, just so that we're somewhat consistent in what we're trying to.
and I wanna see the
accomplish.
number of people too.
And we just.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I wanna compare
Yeah,
it
and-
this
and we
budget
do- we
to the
do-
next budget.
and we do have a signed union contract, so we know
Yesterday.
what we are obligated to
For
pay
4
public
years.
works for
Oh,
the
and
next
that's,
4
yeah,
years.
that's understandable.
Mhm.
But I'm just concerned with where all these numbers are gonna lead us.
Would we like to see the rest of it?
Am I scrolling?
Scroll down.
Am I scrolling?
You're scrolling again.
Okay, I'm scrolling. And actually, just so you know where it says tree removal, I was at a state meeting this morning with new legislators and.
Okay, hold up there.
Oh.
You're good. You're good
Okay.
for right now.
They are talking about potentially having the state come across with some grants that will help municipalities with tree removal.
Ooh, that would be
Old and
nice.
Rotten trees and
Good,
stuff, so
because we can't
that's
keep up with it.
that's one of the there are multiple municipalities in the state that obviously have tree issues, and that's one of the priorities that CCM and costs are putting forward to push for, so we'll see how it shakes out.
Okay, what are we looking
And
at?
We are looking at public works.
Okay, so I'm scrolling.
No,
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 no, no,
sorry,
no,
okay, I'll
no.
go back, hold on.
no, you're too far. Way
Wait,
too
it slid, the whole thing just went kablooey, hold on.
All right, slow down because you're coming up to it.
Slow down.
Right there.
Okay.
Back up a little bit.
Oop, hold on. Very sensitive.
It is very sensitive. There you go. You're good.
Okay,
We
that's
can, yeah, we could probably come down a couple lines. This is where some of these accounts are being zeroed out next year because they're being combined and other accounts are being relabeled.
It happens every year, and so it like
Animal control.
moves money around. in
It's
a
up
way
there.
that It's so confusing.
I
to
just
me.
went by it.
It's red because I don't have the number from Woodbridge yet.
Oh, okay, no, but
Yeah.
it just looked like it had doubled for this year.
No, it's
no.
a 57,000. It did not.
Yeah,
Okay, I guess my eyes.
we
oh,
haven't
yeah.
heard from them
No,
yet.
didn't it just say 90 something?
No,
No,
Oh.
no,
57,000.
yeah. Yeah, no.
Oh,
It's getting late, we know.
So this kind of, yes, it's a consolidation. It's the new approach to major road resurfacing. Yes, it says an 80% increase to 90,000, but most of the money's coming from combining that with other contracted services and a bunch of other things.
No, no. I don't know why I did it. I didn't have anything. It's been doing it.
So there's some accounts that are being zeroed out. Realigned, like other contracted services is going down 76%. The line under it is being wiped out completely.
So we really can't compare this year's performance to past years because the changes have already been made.
The changes have already been made.
Okay. So all we're really gonna be able to do is essentially look at total road and total personnel and total garage to see how we're doing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright.
See, because now this
I have
here,
to stop squinting.
this sheet shows the increase of the consulting engineer to the 43 to reflect the influx of the 28,000, but it shows next year going back to 15,000, which was where it started this year.
Okay.
Okay.
Did we find out about the beta people yet for that contract? What happened to it?
No, Don has gone in and out of there randomly checking on the status of things. I mentioned it to him not last week, I think the week before. So I'll have to see if he's gone back in again.
Because we're supposed to be using that to be monitoring and.
Right. Right, well, that's what I said to him when I talked to him a week or so ago.
Yeah.
So I'll see if he's gone back in.
But I do remember the last year, part of the issue was, yeah, we have it, but we don't have anybody who could input the data,
He probably could have.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Am I still strong?
Yep, we're gonna look at solid waste, work on that one. That, the biggest change there is in the disposal tipping fees. Anticipating a major rate increase.
That's for regular waste.
Yes,
Okay. And so how far along are you on the study of all the different alternatives to ways to address these cycling?
we are waiting for information back from another vendor and we have some preliminary information from our current vendor, so when we get the proposal, we will know what we're going to be doing. We'll have numbers to figure out if we're going to be offering curbside recycling next year and in what capacity and at what cost.
Well, we need to know, because even if we decide that we can't do it until that contract is up, then we need to explain why.
Correct. But
Unless you anticipated like a pilot kind of program for a year.
For
We-
curbside.
yeah, we could
Consider
consider,
RFP for a pilot for a year.
Oh,
yes, we
yeah.
can, we can do that,
But we would need numbers.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
correct,
Exactly.
correct. And our current hauler is willing to add the curbside, but he wants a lockdown guaranteed extension of his contract. And I don't know if that is in the best interest of the town at the moment, because I don't know what others would be offering at what cost. Which is why we're still gathering the information on.
And then there's the scale.
Yep, and then there's the scale.
I know what the scale is.
And then there's the scale, yeah.
But there's also, well, there are also the issues, like, we almost have to do it as a whole recycling program.
Yes,
Because if we're not doing, and if we're doing curbside, then we don't need those personnel, but then,
Right.
then how are we going to deal with people who do drop off?
Because you still have,
Supervisor.
you would still have
Staff.
mattresses, electronics, bulk,
Yeah,
you
Right.
still,
Yes.
even if the
And they have to
center
be
was
supervised.
reduced, right, exactly.
correct, so that, yeah,
There's a whole domino effect.
Right now,
depending
there's
on what you do.
yes, there is a whole
Yeah.
domino, because if we go to curbside, do we need 2 full-time people manning the recycling center? Do we go to part-time, designated hours there per week with part-time employees? There's
Yeah.
whole,
Lot to
it's
look at.
it's a domino effect, a lot of scenarios.
Yeah.
Senior services, they're looking to increase the hours per week for the assistant from 15 to 20.
oh, is there an assistant?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
she
mean,
has,
she's
yes,
very nice.
yes.
Okay. I
She
haven't,
came on board this year.
Mhm. The cook line is up because food costs are up significantly, and that line will be relabeled for next year to say senior lunches. Because that's
Okay.
basically what it is. It's the weekly lunches that Robin does for the seniors.
okay.
And inflation hits a lot of the lines, and that's why, her programs are going to be, she's anticipating her programs being more expensive next year. The reds, as I said, we're waiting for confirmed numbers from,
QVHD.
from outside agencies. And yes, Katie, you are reading that correctly with a 77% increase on park and rec salaries.
Is some of that equalization? Or is
Minimum
it?
wage goes up to 15,
Minimum wage goes up.
from 14 to
Again.
15.
We do have a whole explanation on that, but it is basically, it is almost doubling the salaries for the part-time people at Park and Rec.
And her headcount fluctuates depending on if
Right.
it's before and after school programs or if it's the summer camp.
Mhm.
So
Has that capped out no minimum wage?
I'm gonna.
I
15 is
I
capped.
think it caps at 15, which is where it goes
Is that
next
what-
year.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
think,
So
This
next
year,
year's
I
the
think it's
last
going up.
increase.
I
Oh,
believe
this
so.
year.
I think it's
This
going-
year is the
this year
next.
23.
This year's the last year.
But it impacts the 24
No,
budget.
I get
Yeah,
it.
Yes, so it impacts the, the
Yes.
budget.
I mean, there's not much you can do about that.
right.
Right.
Mhm. Right. And her programs, as they're expanding, she needs more people too.
And so there'll be an increase on the revenue side for.
I
programs.
would anticipate there being an increase on the revenue side. Yeah, because see, there we have, the electric is up 30% on that for that part. Yeah, they are looking for curtains over at the lodge.
Okay.
So that, because I guess there's an issue if they do any type of projection presentation, you can't see it.
Curtains instead of,
I don't,
Line,
blinds.
I don't know.
Vertical Blinds.
well,
It's almost like capital, but it's so small that, like.
I know, but
Well,
I'm just
keep-
thinking the maintenance on,
It would have to be,
well, whatever.
5,000 for capital, and I don't know if it would be 5,000.
It could be.
Yeah, depending on what you put in, and you cover all those doors.
If you wanna, if you wanna block out
if you want
for,
to do it properly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Projections.
So I don't know. I mean, that was put in there. It was put in there with a question, with like 4 question marks, curtains with lots of question marks. All right, then we get into the fun stuff, the medicals, the benefits. The investment, the investment account increases, the social security increases, that's all based off of an assumed higher payroll. But those numbers fluctuate. They're a direct reflection of the overall salary, so there is room for that to change. The capital project, right now, the capital requests are a little over 1 million. That has the number in that you gave me for Amity.
Mhm.
And we know from a conversation with Kay that they are looking for that, well, they'll have the 3.5% increase on medical benefits. And they are looking to add 1 full-time person. I was just a plug number I put in. I'm sure that number is lower than what they're going to come at us with
Their enrollment is up.
at the 7.5 million versus the 7.3.
Mhm.
Which, yes, right now it puts us at an 8.38% increase.
We can't do that.
Yeah.
But I have not yet asked the departments for a revenue projection that I plan on doing after this meeting tonight. And I need the revenue projections from Park and Rec, and I need it from Will and Lena. Those are the 3 departments that need to get me a revenue projection, because it's just because the tax is a plug number. And we have not yet started to get any of the information from the state as to what our funding is going to look like for next year. That will start rolling in around the 15th of March. And it'll be changed 4 or 5 times on every line item that they tell us.
What was your guidance with the department heads when they were preparing this budget? Like in generally speaking, did you ask them to think about everything they wanted, or did you give them guidance that, the budget's already looking tight and, what expectations do you think that they have for the amount that they requested?
I asked them for supporting documentations for every increase. For everything that they were looking for. I asked for justification of why they need it more, and in most cases, I have information like that. I'm just looking, no, that one's not gonna help you. Like on this one, under tax collector miscellaneous, on the department sheets. That one, there's a note on the side, miscellaneous, she wants more money next year than she has this year. And the reason is she's going to be sending the assistant to class. So it's right there, there's documentation for it. Here's the town clerks. Yeah, this is Lena's, that's land use.
Okay, and these actually have attached documents.
Yes,
too, right?
on that spreadsheet, in that Excel spreadsheet that I have, that I do not have on this flash drive tonight. Yes, that stuff is attached. It is there. There's another one. There's a fire marshal. This one is the EMD. It's got justification, explanation, and links for the attachments to them.
Maybe this doesn't, only if they're higher. Maybe for fire marshal and EMD, I don't, as an approach, maybe we could suggest that they get together and to figure out how to split an X% increase. And say, this is what it cost us last year. And, you both want to do new stuff, so
Well, I think.
Play nice.
Because it's a new dynamic, because Rod did both of them together, so he had a handle on both things. Now we have 2
Yes.
separate people, so.
who are wanting to very aggressively improve things.
Mhm.
I get it, but maybe we could ask them if they could get together and, I don't know. Don't you like these forms? What's on that one? What do you reckon?
You got that too, right?
What?
You got 5%, right? Everyone here, we all got like, that's ridiculous.
No.
What?
We're being snarky here. I'll pass this. The top one. Must be nice.
Oh, yeah, but the
So here, you want this one?
fire marshal wants a 33% increase.
Because he's looking to go from 15 to 20 hours a week.
Because
We know the work was not being done before, and there's a lot of catch-up work to do.
does that mean if he catches up, then next year it would go back down?
I don't know.
Well, there's supposed to be annual inspections of places and.
I know.
don't if
Oh,
those weren't
no,
getting
seriously.
done, you know, so.
From back when I was chairing zoning, it was,
I was gonna ask the same question. Let's talk about that.
what is the question?
15 hours.
How many?
How
to
much
do
is it
annual
inspected,
inspections?
Beth?
How many-
Is there new buildings we don't know?
Annual Inspections,
Well,
Jesus.
Well, fire
all, all,
there's 52 inspections?
I don't know, all schools, all daycares. They're all
Commercial.
supposed, I don't know, but I know all of those need to be inspected every year. I know probably most commercial buildings need to be inspected as well. Plus, the fire marshal is also supposed to sign off on all new construction.
And
And
he was
I
actually
don't-
on a call Friday night at the middle school because the alarm system was not working over at the school, so he had to address that issue with them and get that resolved, so he spent time over there Friday night working with them to get that resolved, because we had park and rec program on Saturday morning, which had an impact that was not resolved, so.
So I wanted to give you an idea what we were looking at tonight.
Yep.
And between now and next Tuesday, you will receive a new email, which will have all these lovely departmental requests that will roll up into a master budget. So that when we sit with the departments and go through this line by line, when we make the changes here in the department, it will automatically roll up into the master budget, so we don't miss something.
Okay, so we have a separate column for our version
Yes,
versus, oh, that's on the other budget.
Yeah.
No, it is.
what
It
is,
is.
what,
We go with.
CCS is up there with a 3-something%. right?
yeah. That's what I don't know where it's going to be.
That's that line right
That's
there.
right here, where
Right
we're
there,
going
yeah.
across.
Yeah, the
with
red line at
with
7.5
Yeah, I'm going across with the.
million. And that could be 8, I don't know.
8%.
No, 8 million. No, I don't know what it's going to be.
And the Board of Ed is part of our consortium with the fuel
Fuel.
and the gasoline.
Yes, so those numbers will be adjusted.
Okay.
In the next week. Before it comes out, before the budget meeting workshops. The fuel numbers will be adjusted, and Paul and I will be reaching out to all of the stakeholder organizations to find out what their numbers are going to be for next year, if we do not already have them. Because I think cost is holding their number.
I don't think, yeah, they're not.
So, but I wasn't positive, and I don't know if we have the numbers yet from CCM, but we will collect all that, and we will try to have as much not red as possible when we get back together on it.
So there are different versions of red.
Yeah,
There's a lot of red going on here.
unfortunately, there is a lot of red going on this right now.
And what'll be the format? It'll be paper format you're expecting for the workshop?
I was going to do it,
That's it, yeah. Sorry.
that's okay. I was hoping to do it all right on screen. So it
Make
all-
the adjustments as we talk, but you
As
can
we
have
talk.
paper copies in front of you, but yeah.
Well, we need to be, when it comes to the town meeting, we have to have what the departmental request was. and we shouldn't be changing that.
Correct.
And then, Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance
Mhm.
recommendations.
Right, which is
So
why
we
we have
shouldn't-
those
All
columns
those
on
other, yeah,
the departmental pages.
okay.
And those will roll up into the master sheet as well. So, I mean,
We
if,
can make that.
yeah, because. What's this one? This is Park and Rec. Their budget has a 40.27% increase for next year.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But
So
they're
that's the joy of this, because you will get the departmental
history.
roll up and the percentage change.
So specifically about the clerk's office where they're hoping to equalize rates. I know we asked for like total salary account. I think we'd like to see like something that says just by employee, it doesn't have their name, it can just have something,
Yeah.
a number is fine. And then it could have a years of service or what their grade, you know, like some sort of information that can see what they're currently at and what they're proposing it to.
One of the issues is if we had to start all over from ground zero, retraining someone. If they were to leave, if they did not receive some type of adjustment. What would we have to hire someone new in at?
I totally understand. I
Yeah,
understand the
so
concept.
I-
I deal with it in my office all the time.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not an easy process in any stretch of the imagination, but. I mean, of course, budget, everybody dreams big and wishes, goes big.
You know, it's really amazing too. That it's actually not a major portion of our budget. When we put the increases in. For employees. Although they're much larger this year, the requests. Actually, they're making requests. They never made the requests before. So.
I mean, it's tough, you're hiring people at market rate.
Mhm.
And
We
then you
have a
have-
lot of new staff in the last year or so.
Yeah.
A lot of new staff, younger staff that's coming in with not as much experience, preferably, but, the staff that's leaving are veteran not teachers, veteran staff, with a lot of experience and knowledge and history.
It would be really nice. We're not in a position to do it yet, but it would be nice once we get. An actual reliable accounting system that everybody knows how to work with and that does everything we need. And when. The budgeting process is all straightened out, then it's time to go straighten out the HR process. Because everybody should not be, somebody who's been here 20 years should not be at the same, well, someone who comes in, next month should not be at the same rate as somebody who comes in with 20 years of work. It just shouldn't be happening that way.
Assuming that person who just came in
Yes.
is relatively inexperienced.
Yes.
Okay, I
Oh,
understand
well,
what
yeah,
you're saying.
they come in with the same professional certifications or experience or whatever. Obviously Betsy came in and she's certified and, totally at the top of her game and.
The number of towns and municipalities right now that are looking for qualified assessors, zoning officers,
It's huge.
tax collectors. It's crazy.
It's huge.
It's absolutely crazy. Towns cannot find them.
Next question,
Mhm.
are performance evaluations being performed on these employees? Is there some way, instead of just giving a flat rate increase, can we give it based on performance?
I do not believe at the moment there is a review process in place.
Just so you know, most towns don't do this. In fact, the majority of towns don't do that. Well, every town I've worked for, it's across the board. That's just how it is.
So it's like union work.
It's a
It's
municipality.
just how it is.
Mhm.
Not good or bad, that's just how it is.
So once you're on the ladder, you just stay.
Exactly.
That way.
Although I have to
with
say, I
everybody
did
else.
Exactly.
1 year not.
But everybody
give
doesn't get the same.
Because of.
No,
performance.
everybody gets the same
It
increase.
was not the
Same,
same.
Percentage.
same increase, but not
Mm.
necessarily
Right,
the same.
exactly.
Not
Same rate.
necessarily same adjustments.
Right,
Right.
right,
So where you start depends on where you bring in, and then you all go up the same percent each year.
exactly.
Mhm.
I understand, thank you.
No,
for
I'm
the
just saying,
feedback.
every
Yeah.
town I've worked for, I've worked
And I
for
have
3
to say
different
we're
municipalities, it's
fortunate.
all the same.
Yeah, I've only worked in the private sphere, but most of them include like a
What's a combination of performance?
perform, yeah, and there's like, you know, the midpoint of a range and they try to like, they slow you down once you get close to that midpoint, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
some towns have, you know, if they're union, they'll have steps.
That's, yeah.
Oh,
You know,
yes,
but
exactly.
when I worked in New Haven, they, in theory, there were steps, we never got the steps,
Mhm.
so.
And so like positions didn't have a range. It wasn't like that.
Well, they had them, but they just didn't implement it, so you get,
And all our.
you get hired at whatever step and you never move,
Public works.
you just get your percentage
Because
increase.
they all have to know. that
A
it's
step would
the
be
same thing. They all have
like
to
a
be
progression in
certified.
Yeah, they'd have like a range
Yeah,
over like
just saying
5
that's
years or
what
10
they are.
years,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you go up so much
Because
per
Because they
year,
all do
but that,
the same thing.
then they never gave it to you. So,
Elizabeth.
There is one way, I wouldn't say to, there is one way to camouflage what employees in a department are making. And that is to change the account numbers, change the account structure to have a department head and full-time staff, part-time staff. And everyone would get lumped into, in my case, both Kelly and Rowena would get lumped in on the same line.
Well, we were doing that.
No, we're not.
We were.
Oh, we were.
We were doing that, except it got very confusing
Yeah.
because we had one person working 3 days in one place and 2 days in another and
That's
getting different
good.
rates and stuff like that. It just. a little
I mean,
nuts.
I think we need to move toward some
We
some
do.
fairness, you know, like, you know,
Right.
yeah. So just some more information of what they're proposing
Okay,
is important.
all right.
Yeah.
I will take the information from last year and we will adjust, modify to move forward.
See, You've increased our expectations.
It looks so nice.
I just wanted to know how that 40% or $40,000 is being, like, what was your
Distributed,
philosophy?
yeah.
The philosophy on
I mean,
it.
she does have some senior counselors that do make a different hourly
I-
rate than some of the younger kids. I mean, it's, so she sort of does have levels of counselors within the department. Because some of them have more of a, I don't want to say an administrative role, but more of a,
Maybe a team leader kind of.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
but-
you know.
But I'm pretty sure the budget proposal on the Park and Rec part-time people includes hourly rates that are in excess of what full-time employees are currently making.
Okay, so that's not fair.
Correct.
Correct.
And it's already 40,000.
Oh, no, that,
that's a percent.
this is the 40%, but that line item is
70,000 or something.
that. No, that line item is $130,000.
For Parks and Rec.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Well,
then
they have more
that needs
people
to-
working for them than anybody else, right? Probably more even than the school.
Well, in the afternoon, there's at least maybe 12 counselors that walk up there to get the after-school kids. Because then, you know, because don't forget, when they come down, they are now separated in 4 rooms down here.
Mhm.
So they have to have a certain ratio of kids to counselors, and then if they're taking kids up onto the playground, you have to have proper supervision up there with them as well, so.
Okay.
I was more concerned about the clerk's office. I want to know
Okay.
what philosophy they have for that.
Okay.
If the Parks and Rec is just to comply with the legal standard of minimum wage, I mean, what can we do with that?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Is
All
there
right,
anything else tonight?
Well, yeah,
You have something
I
else?
do. The employee retirement plan, I am ready to send out an RFP to have our plan evaluated, looked at, and a 457 put in place. So the RFP will be posted on the website, and the notice will go in the newspaper this week with the response of January 27th, after which we will review them and see where we go from there. But the RFP clearly states that whoever we select should be able to have the plan implemented by April 1st.
Okay, and does it include what they're going to do to roll over what's in that annuity?
Yes.
That pitiful annuity?
Yes, yes,
Everybody's aware of.
what we
Yeah,
currently
talked
have.
about it.
I just can't imagine somebody working for 25 years and all they get is a death benefit. Like, they don't even get it. Somebody else gets it. I don't know. Besides, it just doesn't, you're supposed to help people save and encourage them to save. That's okay.
And the only other thing, well, I've got two other items. The last one under the director's report, we've kind of touched on before, the MSW recycle and the bulky. We are in the process of looking at that entire package. I mean, what it is to pick up the trash at everyone's house, to pick up the recycling at everyone's house, how much is costing us for the bulky up at the recycling center, and also taking into account some of what the sustainable people are talking about with the pay per throw. You know, those that use the services more, pay more than those that don't. So,
They, not now,
no,
not now.
you know, but
I think people will just throw it on the side of the road.
if
because
you have
that's
to
what
pay
they
for the
used-
bulky.
That's what they used to do. When I live on a gravel road, so I very much know.
So we did. But
Dropping it off at my place on the overnights. But I'm throwing out 20 mattresses a night.
we're just looking at the entire program, the entire everything.
Yeah.
Because there's three components to it. We're just looking at all three components.
And
Individually, collectively, it's
yeah,
a
Okay.
process.
What do we charge for a mattress?
They are free if they fit the reusable guidelines. Otherwise, it's $20. There is a place that will come and take them.
That's still cheap.
gee, yeah.
That's cheap. I pay more just to get rid of them. Jesus.
Don't bring them here.
My man, I'm bringing a truckload of mattresses. Again, I'm gonna come out ahead.
The grant that, was like the pickup grant that was separating into the separate bags, so that's off the table.
That we did not go forward with
Okay.
because it was just not working. The way they wanted to orchestrate the whole thing, and we just backed right out of it, because initially it had recycling in it, and that's one of the reasons we initially went for it, and then partway through, they pulled the recycling out of it, and we're like, okay, and it just, yeah, it was not falling into place. So we just said not.
And there was also a major breach of contract with the current hauler.
Yeah, no, that I
Yeah,
understand.
that was a key factor.
That was a key
That was
factor.
a key factor, so,
You'd have to take it to a different location, right?
yeah,
There's a location issue in that.
yeah, so.
Just to keep on the horizon, the purchase policy is. I have sent a revised copy to Public Works. There's a second piece to it that I did not include, that I circulated here several months ago. And it involves the larger things, like how you go about construction rentals, contracted services, like trade services. So that part's being reviewed, and I'm hoping to implement the entire program with the start of the new fiscal year. And I definitely want a software system that is going to separate accounts payable from purchase orders. Because right now it's the same program in Edmonds. So a purchase policy makes sense when you have a true purchase order policy that you can implement, where you actually issue purchase orders for large purchases, things that you have to go out for bid for, things that you have to get proposals for. A purchase order policy makes sense with that, and using a purchase order program makes sense with that. But you also have to be able to invoice separately from the purchase order. And right now you cannot do that. The system doesn't allow us to do that.
What do you mean? I'm sorry. I guess I don't.
All right, you can, a purchase order,
Mhm.
you can in Munis, you can input a purchase order on July 1st.
Mhm.
For Hungerford's to do the well service. We know it's going to cost $150 for the one service every month. And we know it's probably going to cost $250 for a different type of service every 2 months. So what you do on July 1st is you put in a purchase order for 12 units at $150.
Mhm.
And then the 6 units at $250. When you
draw against it.
Then
when
you draw
invoice
down
comes.
against it.
It's like encumbering the money on a.
So that
I
way,
mean, I totally understand what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
okay,
Yeah, 100%.
but you cannot do that in Edmonds.
So you're talking about purchasing not on a dollar basis, but on a unit basis, right?
Both.
So,
You
yeah,
can
okay.
do it both. You
But
can do it both
you
ways.
can't do both with,
What
You
about
can't-
something with multiple products? That wouldn't work if you got a partial ship. And
Yeah, you can,
Oh,
absolutely. You partially liquidate a purchase order when you pay for
in Munis,
Mhm.
but not Edmonds.
it. Yeah.
That was the comparison.
so
Yeah, no.
how would you do it? You would cut like a service,
You have-
a
you-
gift receipt or a service entry against that unit in order to make the payment? You know what I'm saying? And that
Yeah.
matches with the,
When you get the invoice,
Yeah.
you run the invoice through as a regular invoice entry.
Mhm.
Tagging it that you are liquidating, it's being put through with a purchase order attachment. Because there's 2 ways to invoice in Munis. You can invoice via purchase order, or you can invoice as a straight invoice. So when you invoice via purchase order, you liquidate down particular line items on a purchase order.
Perfect example would be, RWS. They charge us, I'm gonna round it out, $19,000 a month for their service. So on July 1st, you take 12 months times the 19,000, you make that whole purchase order for the total 12-month charge.
yeah, that's the easier way to do it. And then each month they
and
just
then
take
you're
down, yeah.
drawing against
They
it
just
every month
reduce-
when
yeah,
that-
yeah.
for that.
Right.
payment.
That's easier than the unit-based
Mhm.
purchase that you were talking about, where you have this
Well, I
many
think
units. that-
Well, you can do it as 12 at the 19,000, or you can do it for the whole thing. It's for the year, then you just chip away at it. And
You
when
can't do
it-
that with the system that we have now? Either way?
you
that
can't
described?
partially liquidate a purchase order. Purchase order has to be completely liquidated when you pay.
So it's gotta be the exact.
No, I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
No control, not a control system.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So,
So that's my goal there.
what,
Right.
sorry, back to your question about your goal. So you were saying that you wanted in the budget for this, oh no, you're asking for ARPA. But regardless, I'm just trying to understand the timeline. You want to have the purchasing policy start at the beginning of the fiscal year.
Yes.
When's the software? What's your plan for the implementation of the software?
Well, the implementation of the software I know with Munis, it would take 5 to 8 months. So we'll have to be running dual systems, probably start in Edmonds and then transfer over.
Mhm.
Other softwares say that they can convert in, 3 to 5 months. It just depends on which one what we actually implement with, but Tyler will transfer over everything with Munis for the last 3 years. We only have 3 years in Edmonds,
Mhm.
so they would bring everything over. So we would not lose that historical data. So. Is everybody ready?
Your next
Mhm.
meetings are listed on your,
Yes.
item number 9 on the agenda, but I will post those workshops out,
Mhm.
so.
Okay, and the schedule, do we need the schedule? Well, it would just be nice if we had the schedule. Actually, if these are available, these pages for those departments would be wonderful. No?
I can have anything available you
Well,
want me to.
when I
We'll have a powwow between now and then, Sharon.
Like, really? It actually looks like professional. Sorry.
No, just when I will post the meetings, but then the schedule will be sent separately because I'm still waiting on confirmation for the departments. So I will
Okay.
make sure the meeting is posted in a timely
Mhm.
fashion, but then the
All right.
schedule will
Okay.
be.
And then before we adjourn, what are we gonna do about food?
I was gonna get maybe wrap sandwiches from Teddy B's one night, I mean, or I could do both, I mean. I'm gonna be in where am I gonna be on the 27th? I'm gonna be in Hartford till 2 o'clock that day, so whatever I order has to be ordered and paid for, and then I can have Jen pick it up or something.
All right, so
Okay.
just if you let us know where it's coming from or what the menu is and say you need to know by noon
I
or
just thought
something.
wrap sandwiches would be easier
party
and
Yes.
quicker to
Yeah,
clean
yeah.
up and to
Oh, yeah.
eat, that kind of thing, we'll get a variety of them.
Mhm.
I don't know if people want to bring their own drinks, let me know if I have to order any sodas or water or anything like that, but,
Mhm.
yeah, we'll make it as easy and as simple as possible because we have
Okay,
a short window to have dinner too, so,
okay, thank you.
thank you.
May I have a motion to adjourn? John,
Second.
all in favor?
Um,
Now, did you?
Hold on.
Because I did.
Yes, I did,